Dr. Marcus Chen stood at the observation deck of the orbital station, staring at Earth's blue curve below. The planet looked peaceful from here, untouched by the conflict that had torn through the outer colonies. But Marcus knew better. His son, David, had been stationed on Kepler 442b when the hegemony's forces swept through the system 3 months ago. The official report said collateral damage. Marcus called it murder. His fingers trembled as he gripped the railing. At 62, Marcus had spent his entire career developing advanced bio-augmentation technologies for deep space exploration. He'd never imagined his work would be weaponized, or that his only child would become another casualty in humanity's expansion into the stars. Dr. Chen. The voice came from behind him, steady, calculated, with the clipped efficiency of military training. Marcus turned to see a man in his late 30s, wearing a simple gray jumpsuit that did nothing to hide the coiled strength in his frame. His eyes were sharp, assessing everything with the practiced gaze of someone who'd survived situations most people couldn't imagine. "Commander Hayes," Marcus said, recognizing him from the classified briefing files. "I didn't expect the Navy to send someone so specialized." James Hayes had been a SEAL before the Hegemony War, one of the best. When Earth's military needed operators who could function in the harsh environments of alien worlds, Hayes had volunteered for Marcus's experimental program. The neural augmentations had made him faster, sharper, but they'd also cost him his original team when a Hegemony ambush went sideways on Titan's methane seas. "I'm not here on Navy business," Hayes said quietly. "I'm here because David was my friend, and because I know what you're planning." Marcus felt his chest tighten. "I don't know what you mean." "The genetic samples you've been requisitioning, the unauthorized use of the biosynthesis lab. You're building something." Hayes stepped closer. "Something the Navy would classify as an illegal weapon of war." For a long moment, Marcus said nothing. Then he turned back to the viewport. "They're not weapons. They're justice." Hayes followed his gaze. "Show me." The laboratory was in the station's lowest level, where the artificial gravity was weakest, and the hum of the fusion reactor provided constant white noise. Marcus led Hayes through 3 security checkpoints, each requiring his biometric signature and command override codes he'd obtained through careful manipulation of the station's AI. Behind the final door, 2 massive containment pods dominated the chamber. Each was 15 feet tall, filled with translucent blue suspension gel, and inside each pod floated a creature that shouldn't exist. Hayes stopped dead. Jesus Christ! They were humanoid, but barely, 8 feet tall with massive shoulders and arms built for crushing strength. Their bodies were covered in thick dark fur designed to regulate temperature in extreme environments. But their faces, those were almost human, with intelligent eyes and expressions that suggested awareness far beyond animal instinct. "I started with Gigantopithecus blacki DNA," Marcus explained, his voice taking on the detached tone of a scientist describing an experiment. "Cross-referenced with enhanced human cognitive patterns and neural augmentation similar to what you received, Commander. But I went further. Their muscle density is 3 times human baseline. Their bones are laced with carbon nanotubes. They can survive in vacuum for up to 4 minutes and operate in gravity wells ranging from 0.3 to 2.8 G. "You built super soldiers?" Hayes said flatly. "I built hunters." Marcus's voice cracked. "The Hegemony forces who killed David are still out there, Commander. They're consolidating power in the Kepler system, and Earth Command says we don't have the resources for a counteroffensive. They're going to get away with it." Hayes circled the pod slowly, studying the creatures with professional interest. "How intelligent are they?" "Equivalent to a human adolescent, but with instincts optimized for combat and survival. They understand tactical situations, can follow complex orders, and learn from experience." Marcus pulled up a holographic display. "I've been training them in simulation for 6 weeks. They're ready." Ready for what exactly? Marcus met his eyes. I have intelligence on the hegemony commander who ordered the strike on Kepler 442b, Colonel Vex Thrain. He's currently stationed on a supply depot in the asteroid belt, inspecting defensive installations. Minimal security, predictable schedule. If someone were to assassinate him, Hayes finished, using unregistered bioweapons in violation of about 15 interstellar treaties. Using justice, Marcus corrected. I lost my son, Commander, my only family. The only person who mattered. His voice dropped to barely a whisper. I need this. Hayes was quiet for a long time, his gaze distant. Marcus knew he was thinking about his own team, the men he'd lost to hegemony fire. Finally, the former SEAL spoke. I can't let you do this alone. You're a scientist, not an operator. You'd get yourself killed before you even reached Thrain's location. Marcus felt hope surge in his chest. You'll help? I'll lead the mission, Hayes corrected. But we do this my way. Surgical strike in and out, minimal collateral damage. These things, he gestured at the pods. They follow my orders, and when it's done, we destroy them. No evidence, no trail back to Earth. They have names, Marcus said quietly. I called them Cain and Abel. Hayes looked at him with something like pity. They're weapons, Doctor. Tools for a purpose. Don't make the mistake of thinking they're anything more. 3 weeks later, an unmarked transport ship drifted into the asteroid belt's shadow zone. In its cargo bay, Commander Hayes checked his pressure suit one final time while two massive figures stood behind him, perfectly still, awaiting orders. Through the viewport, the hegemony depot gleamed with artificial light, unaware of the approaching storm. Marcus Chen watched from orbit, his heart pounding, David's photo clutched in his hand. He'd crossed a line he could never uncross. But as Hayes and the two bioweapons, Cain and Abel, no matter what the commander called them, prepared to board the depot, Marcus felt something he hadn't experienced in 3 months. Purpose. The war had taken his son. Now he would take something back. Hayes's voice crackled over the comm. We're going in. Stay on station, Doctor. This ends tonight. The transport's bay doors opened, and 3 figures launched into the void, crossing the distance to the depot with the cold precision of death itself. Marcus watched them go, knowing that whatever happened next, he'd become something he'd never imagined. A father willing to unleash monsters to avenge his child. In the darkness of space, justice and vengeance looked exactly the same.